Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Morning here on the Morning Drive. I have a question for you about the Major League Baseball draft. Is there anything you'd like to see them do differently in terms of how they present it? Is it done at the right time, around the All-Star break? Would you like to see them add a little more pizzazz to it, maybe with the first round? Or have they done a better job of that in recent years?
I think they've tried to. I mean, they tried to make it on Sunday night prime time, and they didn't have a game Sunday night. It's going on while the All-Star Game festivities are going on, and so I'm fine with that. I'm not someone who searches for the pizzazz like you do, so yeah. I'm good with the way that they've presented it.
Well, I was just thinking about the players themselves, and how it's it's so different because you're drafting so many players on the baseball side as opposed to 2 rounds in basketball, and now just 7 rounds in football. So it's different. I just wondered if there was something that you'd like to see a little bit different there, or if you've ever talked to any of the guys that have been drafted and how they kind of felt about their draft day experience and what they went through, and if they would like to see something a little bit different in terms of how that was handled, especially the first round guys.
Yeah, no, I've never really talked to a guy about that situation, but yeah, I mean, it's not as done up as big as the NFL and I guess the NBA either. Those are 2 ESPN products, and they do it up big, and the MLB Draft is just on MLB.com and MLB Network and all that, so it's a little bit different in that regard. Doesn't
quite get the exposure that the others do, but I mean it's different. I mean, it's different. So
there's also a difference in what's on the line. NFL draft, your first round draft picks, you're expecting to be starters for you that year. Or if it's a quarterback, you hope that you can sit them for a year before they become a starter.
You want them to be your franchise player.
Yeah. Even your second round guys, you're expecting to be a starter, if not a high-end contributor in the first 2 rounds.
Sure.
First 2 rounds of Major League Baseball draft, you're hoping that they spend a year, at least, in minor league baseball. And usually it's more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a different level of intensity that you need to hit it right because of how the sports work. There is no minor league for the NFL.
No, you're right. You're right. I just was curious if anybody had a brainstorm. That we could rush up to the commissioner and go, "Got a thought for you from Lubbock."
I'll also say that it's exponentially better now, where it's located in the calendar, than it was. 5 years ago when they made the change? During the College World Series runs?
Yeah, right.
During Super Regionals, when people are worrying about trying to get to Omaha, that now they're also worrying about where they're going to be playing there next year in baseball?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I didn't like it during the postseason. It seems like it hit a bunch in the regionals, and I didn't love it there.
It's just distraction for the players and the teams themselves. Any prediction or thought as to when Jace Jung's going to get called up?
It's possible that it could be this year, but I think more likely next year.
So you don't see anything imminent, but maybe a September call up.
Maybe.
When they expand the roster a little bit. Okay. And you think he's progressing kind of like they want him to?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it just takes a little bit more time. How much do you think having a player drafted every year since 1987 helps Texas Tech baseball when they're recruiting, or is that something that doesn't matter anymore because now it's all about how much you're going to pay me?
I'm sure it's just another feather, whatever. It's another layer of things.
Another little bullet point.
But I don't think it's the top thing.
Yeah, no, it's not another little bullet point. Hey, by the way, we have a pretty good history of getting guys drafted here, going back to 1987. Somebody's gotten drafted every year. We want you to be on that list too.
Sure.
So to speak. Okay. Well, Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. That was a really good nugget that Texas Tech baseball shared. I mean, they do that every year, obviously, because 1987. It's consecutively. It's not like, first time you had somebody drafted, it's 1987. No, and we got one every year. And there's a lot of programs that can't say that. I mean, that's
probably not.
It's probably even 5 in a row. 6:36 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Do you think those are good choices to roll out there with Adrian Beltre, Ferguson Jenkins, Nolan Ryan, and Ivan Rodriguez?
Be hard to argue with them.
Yeah. Is there anybody that you'd think, well, let's see, instead of Fergie, we should have this person?
I think they tried to go for different eras.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's cool. I mean, probably Michael Jung would be another guy that Ranger fans would love to see out there and all that, but you kind of have that era already with Adrian Beltre, and Beltre's a Hall of Famer and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I think they did well.
Pudge is a Hall of Famer, too. Fergie Jenkins, he had his challenges at times, but he was really good. I mean, Bobby Witt Sr. was really good, too, for the Rangers. Maybe not as good as Fergie Jenkins, though.
Yeah, I don't know that Bobby Witt Sr. was, at their level.
No, not at Nolan or Yvonne, but Fergie. He was pretty good. Fergie was pretty good. So
I think he's just Bobby Witt. I don't think you have to call him senior.
Oh, I thought you had to call him senior now. I thought that's what he went by, Bobby Witt Sr. And because there's Bobby Witt Jr.
I think you just say junior. I don't know that you say Bobby Witt Sr. Maybe you do.
Okay.
Maybe you do.
Okay. Well, I'm not a senior or a junior or anything. I'm just a schmuck that sits here, dials it out, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9. You're not a junior or a senior either.
I am not. I am not.
You're a, upstanding, citizen, solid, straight arrow that, matriculates young minds every day. I try. Helps with their tennis lessons and things like that.
Career for Bobby Witt, 142 and 157.
Okay.
With an ERA of 4.83.
He won 142 times. Probably played on some really bad Ranger teams that didn't provide, a lot of run support for him.
4.83 ERA is not, Hall of Fame worthy, really.
True. I mean, well, I'm sure that there probably were some errors behind him that allowed extra outs and things like that.
That doesn't affect your ERA. I mean, it keeps it down, as a matter of fact.
Okay. All right. Well, that's not much of a case. 142 and 157. That's a lot of games. That's 299 games, right?
It's 299 decisions.
299 decisions.
Yeah,
almost
he
makes you wonder.
Played in more games. I'm sure he got some no decisions.
Why didn't you do one more so you could have an even 300 somewhere along the lines?
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today is Tuesday, July the 16th, 2024. Here is Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
Yes. 1941. Joe DiMaggio goes 3 for 4. This is his 56th straight game of getting a hit.
Tomorrow's going to be a bad day.
1944. Dodgers score 8 unearned runs against the Braves to win 8-5, breaking their 16-game losing streak. They would then lose another 5 in a row. That's a way to break it, though. 8 unearned runs in an 8-5 win.
Right.
1969, Minnesota Twins Rod Carew steals home for his career best 7th time of the season.
Wow.
This one against the Chicago White Sox.
You don't see that.
Nope.
I mean, you don't see that but maybe 1 or 2 times in a season, let alone 7 at this point in the season.
1987, New York Yankees' Don Mattingly hits his 4th Grand Slam of the season and ties the American League record for homers in 6 straight games, on his way to tie a Major League record of overall of 8.
Where does Mattingly rank on your favorite Yankee list? Is he in top 10?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
He's the Yankee I feel the most sorry for.
Absolutely, yeah.
He never had the chance for the postseason success, really. But
he played in one postseason.
Well,
last year.
The success. And because of that, I also feel like he missed out on the Hall of Fame because of it. Because he doesn't have the playoff numbers that would go with being a Yankee.
Yeah, he doesn't have the regular season numbers really either, though. I mean, he was a good hitter and a clutch player and all that, but his numbers aren't Hall of Fame good. Yeah.
I was thinking
he wasn't as big of a home run hitter, run producer as he probably needed to be, especially when you're talking about first basemen who are generally known for doing those things.
He's kind of a Yankee version of Dale Murphy, although Murphy was a better player overall because he won an MVP, but he didn't get to experience the Braves' success like Mattingly didn't get to experience the Yankee success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good comparison. Mattingly won a batting crown by hundredths of a point over Winfield, so that was a little bit disappointing. But
because Winfield's your guy.
He is my guy.
Yeah.
And he is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
1988, Carl Lewis runs a wind-assisted 100-meter in 9.78 seconds.
Is that really fair? Should we have to say wind-assisted? I mean, it's not like he's got a hurricane behind him, right?
If you've got a 5-mile-an-hour tailwind, that helps.
In track, it does, yeah.
I know, but I mean, it just seems like it taints it.
You know, if you ever go out to the salt flats
because it has to factor in.
I guess. I mean,
have you ever run against the wind, Chuck? Does it slow you down?
I feel like every day I'm against the wind.
Yeah.
If you ever go out to the salt flats and try to break a land speed record, you got to do it twice, one in each direction.
Yeah.
That way it negates what the wind is doing.
I know, it just seems wind assisted. It's like the wind just kind of carried him down there. He ran 100 yards in 9 seconds.
Well, he still gets credit for the win.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get credit for the world record.
Yeah. I get it.
2017, Kawhi Leonard re-signs with the San Antonio Spurs on a 5-year, $90 million contract.
Goodness.
And in 2023, former Red Raider Daniel Colomb gets his first save of the year for the Orioles, 5-4 win over the Marlins.
Is he still pitching?
I think he is.
Yeah. Well, this was last year.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Happy National Cherry Day.
I'm a big fan of the cherry.
Happy birthday, Will Ferrell, 57. Corey Feldman, 53. Carly Lloyd, 42. Barry Sanders, 56. And former Dallas Cowboys head coach Jimmy Johnson is 81 today.
Wow.
And on this day, in 1969.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
Okay, we got a roll program. Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on a proper heading.
And, of course, that proper heading would be Tranquility Base.
Yeah, the moon.
On the moon.
Yeah. I love that guy, the voice of Mission Control. It's, engine sequence launch. That'd be awesome to be the voice of Mission Control.
And that is this day in sports history.
That'd be really cool. It is 6:50 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thank you for being with us today on Lubbock Sports Station. Daniel Colomb's record. This is his overall record through May 24th as a major leaguer was 15-9 with a 365 earned run average. Okay.
Yeah, Red Raiders didn't really get to see the real Daniel Colomb. He was banged up and dealing with arm issues when he was here, but he's ended up having himself a nice MLB career.
All right, on June 19th, it was announced that Colomb had undergone surgery to remove bone chips from his left elbow. So I guess he's going to be out for a little while.
Yep, sounds that way.
So let's see. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line from Jordan. Do y'all feel like y'all's radio show is like a bar? you have regulars, local nobodies, passers-by, etc., and you're all just behind the bar serving up entertainment. Well, yeah, and sometimes the drinks are good, and sometimes we mix them bad too.
Okay.
I mean, some days
maybe on your shift.
Well, some days
I think we can make a pretty good cocktail around here if we want to.
Some days the beer just kind of, when you pull the old tap and comes out, it's pretty good. Some days it's foam. Some days you get distracted and you kind of just mix it all up. I don't know that I think I'd be a good bartender. I don't know. I think I'd be a terrible bartender, actually. I'd get distracted. I wouldn't listen to people, all those things.
No.
I'd probably get the wrong drink for them.
You're getting that wrong.
Well,
You'd be talking and not pouring the drinks.
Yes. Big part of bartending is chit-chatting with people at the bar.
I'd be pretty good at that. Kind of have the bar rag right there and go, "What do you need there, Sam?" And then
would you actually listen to him? Right. Or would you just give him what you thought he wanted?
you said a beer, here's a vodka tonic, or Jeff will get that for you, and I'm going to go over here and talk to Meg or whatever. 6:53 this morning here on the morning drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that of the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Somebody had asked on the Yates Flooring Center chat line how many hits that DiMaggio had in his hitting streak. And then somebody else did the research for us, which is great. It's always good for somebody else to do the lifting every once in a while. 91 base hits in 223 at-bats for a 4.08 average.
During the stretch, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You'll take that.
Absolutely. All right. 6:53 this morning here on the morning drive. Somebody wants to know, any good lookers come by for fun? Yeah, occasionally. Occasionally we have some good lookers come by for the fun. Some days we have some, short, fat, white guys come by too.
I don't even know what we're talking about right now.
Come by the bar.
Come by the bar?
Come by the Double T 97.3 bar.
When do we have people come look at us?
No, I don't know. Every once in a while. Come by here and take a look, take a gander. The higher ups showing things. Some days Chuck is Cliff Clavin and some days he's coach. I'm not sure that's a compliment, but
I think both were lovable characters.
Yeah, lovable. Yeah, the coach was a little, he kind of zoned in and zoned out from time to time. Cliff Clavin, I think Jeff or I could probably play that role pretty well. Always have some kind of fact and be annoying too.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
So just to finish up this Ranger all-time team from this guy from CBS Sports, his name is Matt Snyder. He points out, hey, it's my list because in the outfield he's going to leave off Josh Hamilton. He just avoids him at any of the three spots out there. He said, feel free to disagree, but it's my team. He lists Ruben Sierra as the center fielder. He said, even though mostly a right fielder, but spent a little time in center, so he's the pick out here. He said Rusty Greer also deserves a mention.
Somebody on the chat line also thought Rusty Greer needed to be the left fielder.
Yeah. He has Al Oliver in right field. Oliver spent 4 years with the Rangers. And as far as the left fielder, Frank Howard, he only played 95 games with the Rangers in Texas. He spent 8 years, but primarily as a Washington Senator.
I mean, how in the world would you put Al Oliver over Juan Gonzalez?
Right. I mean, it's a flawed list. The DH, he has Juan Gonzalez.
And how would Josh Hamilton not be on the list?
No, I agree. Yeah, he said this was his list, so it's flawed.
It sounds like we're picking personalities.
Sounds like it,
and not
players.
Skill on the field.
Maybe he snubbed him for an autograph or something like that. And then as far as pitchers are concerned, brings up Charlie. This is starting pitchers. Charlie Huff. He had a great career with the Rangers. Nolan Ryan, Ferguson Jenkins. let's see, who was his? Oh, Kenny Rogers was his other one. So
solid pick.
And then from a relieving standpoint, Francisco Cordero, Joe Nathan, and Jeff Russell. Neftali Feliz mentions him. Anyway, so that's just a few lists here. Somebody brings up Toby Harrah. Yeah. Somebody says Michael Jung would have definitely been my first thought. At second base. He's there.
I don't know how far he'd be down the list, but Colby Lewis was still one of my favorite Rangers pitchers.
Okay.
And I don't think got the credit that he should have gotten at times because of, Yu Darvish was on that staff, or C.J. Wilson was on the staff with him, whoever it was that was bringing more attention for what they were doing. But, Colby Lewis was going out there every 5 days. And he wasn't the ace of this staff, but he was the workhorse of those staffs.
Yeah.
And had a lot of success. Also didn't have all the success you'd like him to have, for sure. But when we're talking favorite Rangers, he'd go on my list somewhere.
Okay.
I think this is another vote for good guy. 77-72 in his career with a 4.70 ERA. He was going out there every fifth day and surrendering homers.
He was, but
I love that Colby Lewis didn't walk guys. He went right after him. If you had ever been around Colby Lewis, he was a real guy and a lot of fun, and probably still is. They talk like he's dead. He's just not pitching for the Rangers anymore. Just a great dude. But at the same time, I don't think he would make my list of top 5 Ranger starters ever, or any time, all time, or anything like that.
Okay. Somebody says Dean Palmer at third, just saying, because he was my favorite Ranger.
Okay. Better than the snake guy who won the All-Star MVP. What was his name? Left-handed hitter who played third base. Gosh, why am I forgetting his name? I cannot. He was such a jerk. And had a snake in his locker. Come on, Jeff, help me out here.
Serrano?
I'm looking.
No.
I'm just that was being funny.
I'm sure somebody on the chat line can help me too.
What about the guy that? What about our pitcher that hurt his knee going down the stairs allegedly?
Derek Collin?
Yeah.
He kind of deserves to be on this list.
Probably in consideration. Yeah.
He's, and get this, at this point in time, he's only 37 years old. It just goes to show you how young these guys are when they're playing and when they're pitching.
I saw on Twitter yesterday him throwing. I don't know what he was doing.
He's just maybe serving something up. Yeah.
Soriano?
No.
Hey, I do owe you a Josh Jung update. So he was asked about this, and he says he probably tried to recover too soon after having the surgery on his fractured wrist. He said they hope that they want to get back to as quickly as somebody says. Hank Blaylock, was that the guy?
Hank Blaylock.
Okay. So he had the major surgery on April 2nd on that fractured wrist. He was progressing, playing in 4 minor league rehab games in June, and then he's been shut down for the past 3 weeks. Took a big step on Sunday. Did take 15 swings before the game against Houston. In retrospect, Jung says he and the club likely pushed too fast after what was an exceptionally intricate surgery involving screws going into the bone. The inflammation arose from the stress of swinging and hitting balls. More time would have allowed Jung to rebuild the strength in the wrist, which will help prevent inflammation. So that makes sense. All the things that you talked about. He said they always point that in. There's always that point with an injury where it's like, okay, do I push through this or not? With all the other injuries, I've been able to push through it. This is from Josh Jung, and get to the other side. This was the first time where I wasn't able to do that. So that's where the disappointment came in. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I wanted to get back and play for the team. I was doing everything I could. Did we rush it a little bit? Probably. It was probably a little bit too fast, but that's part of the rehab process. The bout with the inflammation was in some ways the scariest for Jung, who said he's dealt with a broken left thumb, the stress fracture, the torn labrum, the strained calf, all those things. He said the pain and the inflammation caught him off guard. It makes sense. He said, I wanted to know what was going on. It's just so hard to determine with all the scar tissue and all the crap that's in there right now, just from the healing process and surgery. You just don't ever really know what's going on. It all boiled down to a strength thing. I just wasn't strong enough to really put that type of stress on it yet. When you're not injured, you don't realize how much force goes through the bat when you're hitting a pitch. And I think that's what really set me back. He's used to working through pain and aches because of the injuries. He said you got to push through things like the scar tissue and get your range of motion and all that's going to make you sore. The impact of the bat on the ball flared everything up. The tissue in the wrist just wasn't strong enough. I'm still getting stronger, and that's why I feel better. I'm not back to full strength or anything like that, but I'm getting stronger and stronger.
Good news.
So all those things make sense. So now the next thing that will be to wonder is, does he go and do a rehab start at Frisco or someplace like that? Round Rock, whatever.
Probably be the case.
Yeah, probably be the case. So hopefully he'll get back up there soon. But it's all the things that you thought and talked about was, here's a guy that all he does is work hard. And he's working hard and trying to push through things, and everything else caused him a problem this time.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to protect those guys from their own self.
Yeah, and he's
kind of deal.
And he's one of those guys. And he's one of those guys. But maybe they just didn't know. But it sounds like that surgery was. Of course, anytime you have surgery, it's a problem. But I mean, it sounds like when you're talking about a fractured hand, trying to put little bones back together, makes it sound like it was really, when they use the word intricate, it was no minor surgery. Right. So there's your update on Josh Jung, and hopefully he gets back to the big club pretty quick.
Yes, would love to see it.
And but now at this point in time, he's got to deal with the inflammation, get his wrist strong, and being able to. I mean, you just when you watch these guys, unless you see it like up close and personal, the torque and the pounding that probably goes through their bodies is pretty amazing, actually. When you kind of see it right. See it there on TV or whatever if you have the opportunity to be right close to it.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, very simple question for you gentlemen in our fine listening audience today. Now that we all know Baron Morton is 100% healthy, I tell you can tell me the one thing that you are now worried about. What is the thing that you're most worried about right now? One thing for the Red Raider football team upcoming this season.
Will the receiving group live up to the hype? I mean, you got Micah Hudson, you got the transfers, you got the extra depth, you got the tight end group that you hope can catch passes and not have to block as much. So I'm just going to say, will the receivers live up to the hype? Can they get open?
I'll take the layup. Can he stay 100% healthy?
Well, I was going to say, can the offensive line protect him? I said I'd take the layup.
Yeah,
you did.
It's a flat-up layup. Can we keep a quarterback healthy?
I feel like that you...
I said I would take... You had a great answer, Chuck. Congratulations. I went with the easy layup.
You going to allow that, counselor?
Do what you will.
Do what you will.
Do what you will. I think I'm still worried about the defensive line.
Okay.
I just think you lost two great players there. And I'm excited to keep hearing people say that there's great depth there and there's maybe more talent there and all the above. But I just think those guys are going to be really difficult to replace. And the leadership that comes from them as well. So I'm still a little bit worried about your run defense because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. And then your ability to put pressure on the quarterback that goes with that, right?
Yeah, I'm more so worried about the run defense.
Okay.
Because I feel like you had dramatically improved in that area the last couple of years.
Okay. Jeff, you want to expand?
Well, I mean, the reason that I say that is because we've used 3 quarterbacks in the last 3 years. And not like, oh, look, they got some playing time in a game against North Texas. It's, oh, no, we needed them to start a game. That's why I say can we keep Baron Morton healthy for a year? Can we only use one quarterback for a year? Can we have a situation where we know who the signal caller is for every game of the year and it's the same answer all year long? I think that will help the wide receivers. I think that would help the offensive line, because then the offensive line guys know where they're going for the blocks, because they know how this guy likes to have the blocking path in front of him kind of concept. Like, we know if he's going to roll out, he's going to roll out to his right to about here. So when I'm blocking my guy over that direction, don't let them get there. That changes with each individual quarterback for their tendencies and their speed and where they want to go. Receivers, how the ball comes out of the quarterback's hand, where they're throwing to, which receivers he likes throwing to, the connections that those make. That's why, yes, he's 100% healthy today. Can we keep him that way? That's where it's not just the snarky comment of, well, can we keep him healthy? I was like, well, can we keep a quarterback healthy and get the offense going because of it?
Mm-hmm. Any concern about the running game? Too much pressure being put on there?
Playing along with Jeff about the quarterback not staying healthy. I'm nervous that Taj Brooks won't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he's not healthy, then that would change things dramatically, right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to speak that into existence, so that's why.
But you were okay with speaking it into existence with the quarterback?
We've seen it enough in the quarterback, yes.
Yeah.
How about the punt game?
Yeah, I think you could pick any position on the field of the key players and say, if he's not healthy, we won't be good in that area.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the punt game.
Okay,
though.
I was just gonna just checking. Just
don't want him to be bad, but 4 or 5 yards here or there, 3 or 4 yards is not going to be the.
We're not going to punt anyway. We're going to go for it on
not
fourth
going to be
and
the
forever.
difference is whether you win 9 games or 7 games.
And you remember what Rob Bro said the other day, right?
I didn't hear what he said.
The statistics of like the I guess this was the day when it was Clinton, Rob, when they ran the numbers of Tech only ever punted on 4th and 7. If it was those like 4th and 7 plus, and then it was if Tech never punted, they would have won all their games last year. On the schedule, no, this year, the upcoming schedule, the Tech would win all of their games, like according to how the numbers work and what your percentages of going for it on 4th down are. None of us wanted to go. None of us wanted to say we would never punt, but that was the stat that Rob Bro brought in.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not signing up for that. But I mean, at this point in time, if it's 4th and 5 and you're at your own 35, you're probably going for it.
I'd hope not.
Well, I hope not, but I mean, I think that's
5 at the 35.
Your own 35, yeah.
What's the score? What's
you're down by 10. You're up by 3.
Well, how much
7.
time?
Second quarter, I don't know.
4th and 5 at the 35. We're going for it.
Yeah,
no,
we've done that.
So.
We've done that before.
4th and 1 or 4th and 2, maybe not 4th and 5.
4th and 5, man.
I think you're making stuff up.
No. I'd have to go back and
unless
look at
we were down a score with 2 minutes left or whatever. I don't think we're going 4th and 5.
Third quarter,
35.
4th and 5 on 35. Then go. Let's go.
Oh boy.
I know.
No, I do not believe that. I am going to say no.
We do have, and maybe this guy can be a specialty punter. We do have a kicker from Australia, so we can probably get some kangaroo kicks in from Bacchus Marsh.
Rugby kicks?
Yeah, kangaroo kicks.
You want to think of a kangaroo kick? I think of him getting up on his tail and using both legs. That's not possible for a punter.
Yeah,
he can't get on his tail. I
call him a kangaroo kick. That's how I refer to it. Those Australian guys when they do the rugby style kick.
Did you get that, bullfighter?
Kangaroo kick.
I don't think that's the first time I've heard that referred to that way. It's, when a kicker kind of runs a little bit sideways and kicks it to the side, and it's not about hang time. It's about a line drive that's going to roll for a while.
Sure. Get a nice
I think
little
that's
bounce.
referred to as a kangaroo kick.
Yeah. We get this from Coach B. Morning, guys, listening poolside in Port Aransas with coffee in hand. Oh, man. Good for you. Get a little vacay, get a little pool action, you got a cup of coffee, got the morning drive. What more could you want, Jamie?
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Station Double T 97.3, your three buddies, Jamie, Jeff, and I. Maybe all three of us aren't your buddies, or two, or maybe one, or maybe none. But we're here from the First United Bank studio, taking your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, dispensing the fun as best we can, right? Speaking of Copa, not the Copacabana like Barry's talking about there, but the Copa America final from Hard Rock Stadium the other night. Get this. The Colombian Football Federation president, his name is Ramon Jessurun, he and his son were arrested. Mr. Jessurun is facing 3 felony counts of battery on a specified official or employee. This is coming from WPLG, the ABC affiliate in Miami. The event seemed to take place during the final, which concluded around midnight local time. This is after they had all the problems with the fans, running the gate, and they had to delay the game because just they had utter chaos. His son, Ramon Jamil Jessurun, was booked minutes later. He faces the same charges, as well as a misdemeanor battery charge. I mean, this was a championship match where the president of the federation was arrested. I don't think we've ever heard of anything like that before.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yes, it's crazy.
But it's soccer, right? So it's not shocking.
Sure. And
no offense to soccer out there, but their fans are just a little different.
It's Argentina and whatnot. I got a confession about my illiteracy when it comes to soccer and maybe overall awareness. So we're down in Houston a couple of weeks ago, and I kept seeing all these blue jerseys, and I was like, God, there must be some kind of soccer tournament going on kind of where we are. And I mean, they're like littered with them, the Galleria, and this is the 4th of July. And just, and then there's like somebody selling them on the side of the street. And I was like, God, what the hell is going on here? And then I realized later when it's like, okay, what's going on at NRG today? Because we were staying down the street from NRG, and I wanted to go by and see the Astrodome, because I always like seeing the Astrodome, and it just is dwarfed by NRG. And it's like, oh, Argentina's playing here tonight.
At no point did none of the jerseys said like Argentina.
No, they just had their blue, kind of their blue and white.
But it's a pretty recognizable color, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe it wasn't for me. Okay.
Okay.
It wasn't for me.
Because theirs are the lighter blue, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a.
That's one that would be one for me. That would be one of the few countries that would jump out to me, because the Argentina light blue, the Carolina blue look kind of.
Yeah, the Carolina blue look.
I think of Argentina as well as.
Well, I mean,
Carolina.
I saw it was all like. It was like little kids, and it's like, okay, maybe there's some kind of, like I said, maybe some kind of soccer tournament going on down here. And
yeah, it was.
There was, yes.
Some kind.
It was over, and they had 80,000 screaming people there, going after each other. I think it was Argentina and Peru or somebody like that. But they were the Argentinians were the prevalent team.
I think Argentina and the United States would be the only teams that I would see the colors and I would immediately think USA, and even or Argentina. And even the American colors, I mean, others have, if you just saw like the back of the jersey or whatever, and it was navy blue or it was a red one or whatever, maybe it wouldn't be as obvious to you because other countries have that one color in their color scheme as well. But Argentina just feels like that one's very...
It just kind of caught me off guard, It's like it's one of those things I just didn't.
Yeah.
I just wasn't expecting it, and it's just like, what in the world is?
Now, if you saw that colored jersey and it was a basketball or a football jersey, you wouldn't be thinking Argentina. But if it's a soccer jersey and it's that color,
I wasn't sure it was a soccer. I just saw people wearing these jerseys, and I saw people selling this stuff on the side of the road. And then finally, I was like, I got to figure out what's going on here, And I mean. Again, it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
It just caught me off guard.
I got it.
But it was like, oh wow, it's a pretty big damn deal.
It's definitely. To a lot of people, that's like the biggest sporting event of the year, probably.
Yeah, right. Especially those folks that were
maybe not in an Olympic year, but I don't know. Down
there in Miami, going Bananarama, trying to get into the Hard Rock Stadium and tearing the thing up. All right, we're here at the All-Star break. We'll have the All-Star game for you on the air tonight, 6 o'clock on 100.7 The Score. Balls and Strikes to follow at 7. This is the 94th edition of the All-Star game. So we're not at the halfway point per se. We're at the traditional kind of mythical halfway point of the year. The Rangers and the Astros both have played 96 games. Houston's 50-46. The Rangers are 46-50. So the competition in the American League is actually pretty stiff compared to the National League. We'll just start with the East. Baltimore leads New York by 1, Boston by 4.5. Who wins the East?
I'll go with Baltimore. Neither one of them are playing well right now, but I'll go with the Orioles.
Do you think they have the stronger pitching?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. It's just what your gut tells, because the Yankees have outscored their opponents by more than what the Orioles have. 106-80. Is that?
I don't love the Yankees bullpen, and I think that really matters. I think going down the stretch, that'll become an issue. Let's see if they add to their pen.
I was just getting ready to ask you. Does anybody make a trade here?
I would imagine both teams will.
Okay. All right. Cleveland leads Minnesota by 4.5. Kansas City by 7. Do the Guardians win the East, or the Central rather?
Yeah, I think they will.
Pretty easily?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then in the West, and then we'll continue in the National League, we'll continue this discussion as well. We'll give you time to think about Seattle, Houston, and the Rangers in the West.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.